Steven's Dream and Adventures in Light Distortion. The first 2 episodes of, what is this, the 5th StevenBomb? I've actually been thinking on this StevenBomb for a lot longer than I expected I would be able to before making this review. This is the StevenBomb that was leaked in its entirety on the Cartoon Network app 1 month ago. 1 month before it was supposed to air normally on television. I just can't get over how colossally stupid that was. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to talk about the episodes, even though these two do flow really well together. And quite honestly, while there's a lot of stuff I could break down and analyze and go in depth about, in terms of the narrative, there's not a whole lot here. This was mostly set up. These 2 episodes were mostly set up for the 3 episodes to come. The plot of these 2 episodes was just the establishment of why and how the gems got to where they needed to go for the rest of the stuff in the StevenBomb to occur the way it occurs. It starts out with another example of Steven's empathic powers. He is crying uncontrollably. He has connected empathically with someone who is crying uncontrollably, and in his dreams he's able to see a little bit of what they're seeing, and he sees the palanquin, the pink palanquin that belonged to Pink Diamond, which was drawn in Buddy's diary, which the illustration in Buddy's diary still uses the wrong illustration, the one that we saw back in the answer for Blue Diamond's palanquin. Just wanted to point that out there. They didn't fix that, and that bothers me. Realizing the connection between the palanquin and Pink Diamond, Steven of course wants to investigate it. Using the journal, they're able to figure out where it is, and Steven insists that they go, but Garnet insists that he doesn't. She can't tell him why he can't, because she's able to see with her future vision that telling him will guarantee that he will go. But she essentially begs him not to go, and it was a really good scene. It was a really good emotional scene. You can tell how much she wants to tell him. You can feel it, but she knows that the only way that she has a chance of preventing him from going, aside from tying him up and locking him in the bathroom or something, is not to tell him, and you can see that it's eating at her. So Steven goes anyway. He gets Greg's help, and they get Andy's help, and they fly to Khouri, which is where the journal says that the palanquin is located. And we get this really interesting meta scene where they actually walk into a studio animating Steven Universe. It was funny, but not exactly the kind of comedy I expected from the show, so it blindsided me more than it made me laugh. They do a little bit more sightseeing aside from that, and then eventually they come upon a hill which has a fence around it, which has also been marked off by Pearl the same way that the beach used to be. The same sign, the same please sign and everything underneath a do not enter sign. And just like back on the beach, Greg ignores it, and he and Steven jump the fence and head into what seems to be a government-restricted area, which is one of those things I said you could really break down and analyze, which probably going to at some point. And they find not just the palanquin, but the person who Steven has been seeing through the eyes of, and it's Blue Diamond. She and her Pearl are on Earth, and to prevent Steven from being discovered by them, Greg lets himself be discovered by them. And despite how terrified he is, how terrified you can tell that he is, when he picks up on the fact that Blue Diamond's there to grieve for the loss of someone, he actually starts to bond with her over his loss of Rose. And I really like the implication here. Steven was able to connect with Blue Diamond over such a long distance, using his empathic powers, because both he and Blue Diamond were thinking a lot about Pink Diamond. But the fact that Blue Diamond is here grieving for Pink Diamond implies that Steven is in his own way also grieving for Pink Diamond, or more accurately, he's grieving for the loss of that image of Rose that he had before he found out what she'd done. Blue is incredibly condescending, pointing out that she didn't think humans were capable of feeling things, and then she kidnaps him to take him to a human zoo on another planet. Well, in orbit of another planet, but same point supply. She has a giant arm ship. It's a hand and an arm, and it's equipped with the same black hole gravity warp drive thing that the Ruby ship was. Steven tries to get to her using his super jump and his floaty powers, but he's unable to before the ship warps away, and that's when Garnet shows up. She knew that Blue Diamond was there. She knew that telling Steven that a diamond on Earth was a way to guarantee that he would go there. She knew that going there risked Greg being taken, but she also knew that if the gems accompanied him there, their existence would be revealed to Homeworld, and she couldn't allow that to happen. And quite frankly, I totally agree with her reasoning. There seems to be some sort of separation between the diamonds and the ones underneath them. Otherwise, Peridot's reports of crystal gems on Earth would have reached Yellow Diamond by now, and they haven't. So dealing with underling gems does not guarantee that the crystal gems will be found out, but dealing with a diamond directly absolutely does. It was the least risky course of events, and I can't imagine how much pain Garnet must have been in making that choice. I used to criticize her leadership capabilities. I take it all back. She's really grown, guys. I am actually, believe it or not, super proud of her here. Steven is a wreck, of course, and this is when Adventures in Light Distortion comes in. The crystal gems still have the Ruby ship that is equipped with the same gravity drive that Blue Diamond used to warp away. And Pearl knows of Pink Diamond's human zoo. She knows that if Blue is taking Greg anywhere, it's most likely there. So they have a plan. Use the gravity drive, despite the fact that they don't actually know how, to fly to Pink Diamond's zoo, and somehow rescue Greg while leaving Connie, Peridot, and Lapis behind to protect Beach City in case anything happens. I would have mixed the teams up differently, personally, but hey, I'm not a super intelligent space rock. What do I know? And again, Adventures in Light Distortion doesn't have a ton to it, aside from all the stuff we could really dig into and analyze. So I'm going to talk about just 2 key points that I found really interesting here. First of all, a gravity drive is actually a real scientific possibility. It effectively uses gravity from a miniature artificial black hole to create a wormhole, bending space and shortening the distance between 2 points. And while some of the portrayal of it was not quite correct in this episode, and I'm not going to get into that here, so don't ask, it was still pretty interesting to see how it would be portrayed in this show by these people. I really enjoyed that. And tangentially related, I enjoyed seeing the gems forced into the forms of other gems very briefly. That was pretty interesting too. And I like how it was used to show us a new kind of gem without actually showing it to us. I'm talking about the little teeny tiny ones. I really want to know what those are. But most interesting in this episode was the entire segment where Steven was fighting with the inertia to try to reach the console and stop the ship before they crashed into the human zoo instead of landing at it, and how symbolic that was. For a long time, Steven has been wrestling with himself and fighting against not only his own emotional biases, but forces beyond his control that overpower him in virtually every conceivable way. And this brief struggle between Steven and the inertia, where everything was finally resolved after he had an emotional breakdown and realization that he just wants his dad back, that he doesn't care about anything else right now, he just wants his dad back, was very symbolic of that struggle, and in particular the inner struggle that he is still fighting to come to terms with everything that he's learned recently about Rose. In order to move on from that, he's going to have to come to a similar emotional breakthrough. And I really look forward to seeing that happen. Guys, these episodes were a lot of fun. I'm, of course, making this review with the other episodes of the 5th StevenBomb in mind, so I'm kind of rolling my opinion of all 5 episodes into one here. But even individually, even as setup episodes for the rest of the episodes, these were both really good. There's a whole lot in them. Some good humor, some good continuity, some good lore. Tons of stuff that the fandom's been having a heck of a time digging deeper into since the StevenBomb originally aired on the app, and stuff that I really look forward to going into deeper detail with you guys down the line. I think this may be the best start to a StevenBomb we've ever gotten. As per usual, though, if you have seen this episode, what did you guys think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, so I was sitting here rewatching these episodes on TV, and I was reminded of a question that I had when I was watching the episode for the first time, that being Steven's Dream. That's the episode I'm talking about. That question being why Greg just didn't buy plane tickets with his oodles and oodles of money and he and Steven fly to Korea in a passenger jet. Why did they need Andy? And then I remembered that there's a very good chance that just like Rose and the other gems, Steven isn't a registered citizen of the United States and can't get a passport.